And usually I am not as honored as I am today to welcome such a distinguished personality. You know, at our home, when we have guests over, we play this game, Reverend, where we ask, if you could have any, I mean, I'm sure you've played this game too, if you could have anybody come over, living or dead, for dinner, who would that person be, or would that group of people be? Maybe 5 people. And almost always, Dr. Martin Luther King's name is number 1 or number 2 on the list. And I think a lot of you share that because there are few images in our consciousness as people, as Americans, as black people, that is as pressing as Dr. King is in terms of what it is to be a leader of a righteous movement.
And I take a great deal of interest in humanizing him, especially for young people. If we make a saint of him, then it excuses us. I don't have to do anything. I'm not a saint. Neither was he. He's not a saint. He was a human being with all the hopes and aspirations and things that human beings do. And he loved people. He really was a servant leader. And we were all young people. Nobody in our group at that point was 40. Martin was 39. I was 33. Jesse Jackson was 27. John Lewis was 23. It was a young people's movement, and so I challenged them. You know, all of his work was maybe 12 years that he turned the nation and the world inside out. I said, but that's not the question. The real question is, what will you do with your life by the time you're 40? Tell me that. And we go on from there. In less than 150 years, look what wonderful people we are. Listen to this. In less than 150 years, my God, we've had, in spite of the fact that it was illegal to know how to read, we've had 2 secretaries of state of the most powerful country in the world, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice. I don't care what party she's in, she was the secretary of state. And our own airplane, get out of here. There have only been 3 holidays in honor of individuals. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Martin Luther King Jr. 3 holidays, 1 African American. And it does not matter what your politics may be, you got to deal with the holiday. Because ain't no mail delivery to post office. Dinner was to be served at my home. I told him dinner was at 5. He called the house. They told him dinner was at 6. So when I went to get him at the motel, he said, oh no, dinner's not at 6 and I'm in no hurry, take a seat. I took a seat. He was never in a hurry, that's why I told him 5. But that gave me the wonderful privilege to spend the last hour of his life on earth. 3 preachers in a room, Abernathy, King, and Kyle. And of the 3, I am the only one left. And so the world has asked, what did 3 preachers talk about in a room for an hour? I say, we talk preacher talk. They said, what's preacher talk? I said, anything preachers talk about. About 5:45, we walked out on the balcony. He stood here and I stood here. He was greeting people down in the courtyard. He saw Jesse. Jesse, you're not dressed for dinner. Jesse said, I don't need a shirt and tie. I got an appetite. That's all I need. He said, and don't take that whole band to Kyle's house. He said, I'm not taking the band, but I want you to meet the band leader. He's from Memphis. He said, bring him over here. So they started walking towards the balcony. King is here and I'm here. Ralph is in the room, putting on, still shaving. I said, guys, let's go. We have a rally after dinner. I turned, I got about 3 or 4 steps. Kapow! The shot rang out. I looked back. He had been knocked from the railing back onto the floor. I rushed to his side. There was a gaping hole in the right side of his face. I ran in the room to call an ambulance. You have to have the operator to get the phone working. I was beating on the wall saying, answer the phone, answer the phone, answer the phone. When the operator heard the shot, she left the switchboard, came out into the courtyard, looked up and saw Martin on the floor. Immediately she had a heart attack. She died a few days later. She was the motel owner's wife. I ran back outside. The police were coming. I hollered to them, call an ambulance on your police radio. Dr. King has been shot. And they said, where did the shot come from? So the famous picture us pointing to the building across the street is in response to the police saying, where did the shot come from? They came and blocked off the steps so no one else could come up. I was doing what needed to be done, but I was doing it for functionality. I had no real consciousness. I thought I was having a nightmare. I had no words then to describe how I felt. 40 years ago, 40 years later, I still have no words to describe how I felt. They blocked it off. I took a spread from one of the beds and covered him from his neck down. One of his feet hung through the railing. He never spoke a word. The bullet's called a dum-dum. As it goes through the barrel of the gun, it heats up. It does not come out straight. It comes out jagged. So it tore all of his chest out. Blood was everywhere. Severed his spinal cord. The ambulance finally came. I told them what hospital to take him to, and they did. And we waited. And we waited. Finally, the word came. They never said that he died. They said, we lost him. We lost him. We lost him. And then we got somebody on the phone. I called my home. Jesse called Coretta. And we were in shock. Could not believe the things that were happening, that it was real, but it was happening. And I wondered, why was I there? Of all the places I could have been, all the places he could have been, why was I there at that moment in time? And then God revealed to me why I was there. And once he did that, I was so much better. Crucifixions have to have witnesses. And I was there to be a witness. An honest witness, because a lying witness is dangerous. A witness who has information and won't share it is of no consequence. And so I must be a living, honest witness. Martin Luther King didn't die in some foolish, untoward way. He didn't overdose. He wasn't shot by a jealous lover. He wasn't shot leaving the scene of a crime. He was a man with an earned PhD degree at 28, a Nobel Peace Prize, the youngest at that time to ever get one, 34. All the things he could have been. University president, ambassador to UN, mega churches all over America, all the things he could have been. And here he is dying on a balcony in Memphis, Tennessee, helping garbage workers. And they said, we will shoot this dreamer and see what happens to his dream. That's where the witness comes in again. The witness will tell all who will listen, yes, unfortunately, you can kill the dreamer. But no, absolutely, you cannot kill the dreamer.